Mental hygiene petitions continue to challenge the Wood County Sheriff's Department. Sheriff Rick Woodyard says there have been around 85 mental hygiene petitions since January. When sheriff's deputies respond to those petitions, they can end up waiting in hospitals for up to 10 hours before having to transport a patient halfway across the state to another facility. Those are hours that the deputy isn't available to respond to 911 calls or investigate crimes. Woodyard says the department is working to mitigate this problem by changing what sheriff's office employees are responsible for during mental hygiene calls.
I'd ultimately like to be able to take our deputies, our law enforcement deputies, and keep them investigating crimes and answering 911 calls, and use our court service people to supplement on the other side of the house on the judicial orders like mental hygiene petitions.
In the long term, Woodyard says he'd like to see changes to the state code surrounding mental hygiene petitions so that they are treated as a medical issue rather than a law enforcement one. We'll have more on how mental hygiene petitions affect the Wood County Sheriff's Department later tonight. Spring